Hello friends, Rebecca here, the Dragon Librarian from Farmington Community Library, and Brill and I are here today to talk to you about a really special book, and I have to just give you a confession right now. This was absolutely not the video I originally planned to film today for you guys, but I read this book over the weekend and it made me so happy and so excited. I figured we will just do the other video another time, and I just have to talk to you guys about this book today because it is so incredible, hilarious, and amazing. And this book is called The Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi. The Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi. So John Scalzi is a science fiction writer, and this is definitely a science fiction book. But before you freak out, if you are a person that does not really like science fiction or not really into it, this book, I'm being very honest with you, is so accessible for anybody. Even if you are not a huge sci-fi fan, if you like Jurassic Park, you're going to like this book. I guarantee it. Another good thing about it is it's really short. I'm not even kidding. I read it in maybe 2 to 3 hours. I couldn't put it down. It is so good. It's barely, not even 300 pages. It's like 260 something. So really, really fast story. What is it about? So this book is about a guy who is kind of down on his luck with his job. He was working for this startup app company. He got laid off basically, or really offered this terrible other job with no benefits within the company, which is a really big downgrade. So he doesn't know what to do. It's right before the pandemic hits, so he's starting to freak out. He's got rent due, he's got all these things. And then he is offered this amazing deal from somebody he used to know who says, hey, I have this, there's this position that just opened up in this top secret company. Why don't you come along and find out what it's about? The pay is amazing. The benefits are amazing. It may be a little bit of a risky job, sure, but, you know, it's really just moving stuff around, picking stuff up and putting it down. And he's like, well, I can do that, sure. So they come to find out that he is actually now working for this company that is the Kaiju Preservation Society. It is a parallel world that is right next to ours that completely evolved in a different way, so that there are these huge monsters that live in this world, and this society works on preserving these monsters for a few different reasons. One, because obviously they're so cool, but also because the barrier between that world and our world is so thin and so close. There have been times when these monsters are able to actually cross over into our world, and they have to work hard to prevent that. So these monsters feed off of nuclear energy, which is really interesting as well. So the environment that they live in is completely different. The monsters and the parasites and everything that grow up there, completely different than what we're used to. So basically, this is a story of this guy just acclimating to this and getting used to this new job and absolutely loving it. And it's a really simple idea for a story, right? But it's amazing. So kaiju means monster in Japanese, which is where this title comes from, like harking on like monster movies like Godzilla and stuff like that. And there are a couple hilarious references to Godzilla in here. And this book, when I tell you that it's sci-fi light, and I don't mean that to like dumb it down for people, because it's not a stupid book, but it's a book where, you know, I love science fiction. Science fiction is one of my favorite genres, but sometimes some of the books in this genre can be a little heavy on the science, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't have a very good sciencey brain. My brain is not a sciencey brain at all. So I had, for example, with The Martian by Andy Weir, I struggled with that a little bit because there was just so much science in it, and I loved it. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved that book, but I struggled with it at parts because it was just a little bit of the jargon and the sciencey bits were just a little bit too much for me to handle. This book, not like that at all. John Scalzi gives you just enough information that you need to understand how this world works, and that's it. He doesn't go into a lot of extra details about stuff that you don't need to know to enjoy this story. Here's the monsters, here's how it works, here's a little bit of stuff to go behind it, boom, here's the story. It reminds me so much of Jurassic Park, just in that sense of this dangerous place that is new and all these crazy huge dinosaur-like monsters, kind of like dinosaurs, but they're these huge monsters. It's just so amazing. And it's hilarious. If you haven't read anything by John Scalzi before, he is just a writer that really, all the things I've read from him are very accessible to anybody just new to the genre, or somebody who isn't really looking to delve really deep into some of the sciencey bits of the science fiction, just wants a good story. A lot of his books are very much like that. This is, I think, the pinnacle of his writing. And I read an interview recently where he talked about writing this. This wasn't the book he planned to write during the pandemic. He had this big masterpiece, really serious, heavy book. But then the pandemic happened and he wanted to have fun. And this was what he wrote out of it. And he said it was the most fun he's ever had writing a book. And I can totally see that because this is one of the most fun experiences I've ever had reading a book. I love it. I love it. I love it. This book is for everyone, even if you are not a science fiction fan. If you like monster movies, if you like Jurassic Park, if you like a story of an everyman who is just, you know, rising up and taking control of his life, this book is fantastic. And like I said, it's really short. You can read it really quickly. It's amazing. The Kaiju Preservation Society. Try it. You're going to love it. I guarantee it. So that's what we're talking about that's what we're here to talk to you about today. Like I said, is completely not what I had in mind for this video today, but I had to share it with you guys because I just love it so much and I think you will too. So please feel free to check it out from Farmington Community Library. Also, please give this video a like. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it and have a wonderful rest of the day.